Hello, I'm James, and the game for tonight is Sunless Sea. Welcome back. Now, as you can probably tell, the audio issues that I was having last time seem to have been fixed, and hopefully this time we won't have a sudden cutoff of the recording again. So, let's begin where I left off, but a bit past where you left off. You can sell tomb colonists at the tomb colonies. This isn't slavery, they're tipping you. Something of a relief, I suppose. Just a moment, let's see if there's something going on over here. Yeah, I'm having a program hang over here. Going to see if I can get that taken care of. Close out a few things that might be taking up system resources. Ah, here we are. Demo Island. We have one, almost 2 barrels of fuel left. The engine temperature is below freezing because we're not moving. This isn't quite where I'd left off. And I forget if we made it this far last time on the recording. It would be nice if we could buy more fuel. And we were heading northwest, trying to find Mount Palmerston. Let's turn off the light to save fuel. Sorry, let's head down this way. Start sending out bats. See if we can find anything. A belch of smoke goes up from the funnel. Fed the crew. Bonny Reefs is some distance to the north. Let's see. Up there. The glassy chop of dark water, the iron clatter of feet at the hatchway. Creeping tendrils of fungus, seaweed, unnamable flora, we enter with snares. Discovered crab cake. The waves are flecked with light, and it is Christmas of 1887. And there is a gilliflower. Desperate measures are in play. Discovered the Dubois Maelstrom. Pigmote Isle is some distance to the south. Far off, very far off, someone screams. Let's see. Actually, okay, we're, that looks like a dock. Let's see if we can dock here. On the horizon, a sickly yellow light glimmers for a moment, then fades. On a lonely desert beach. There is no habitation in sight, no market, only an old rotting dock. A stretch of sand thickens into damp black earth, from which sprouts stunted palms? Not quite. Tall fungal growths with frond-like caps, as if someone had sculpted the idea of a tree from a mushroom. Disembark. See what awaits you. War? As you step onto the quay, you hear clamor, shouts, and shooting. You can see off in the distance smoke rising from beyond the hill, and dots of fire flecking the horizon. Two tiny figures stand a little further down the way, unmoving, as if awaiting your approach. A literary interlude. The following is an extract from the popular Diary of a Z Captain, from London to Iran and what we did there before we arrived. Washed ashore on Mutton Island and subsequently serialized in the Unexpurgated Gazette. The author's identity remains unknown. The Tale of Pigboat Isle, in which a delegation is made, a choice is presented, war is declared, and a most singular treasure is sought by all, and a new empire is founded with tooth and claw. Chapter 1. The Delegation. The figures were rodents. To my left was a Ratus Faber, wearing goggles and a blacksmith's apron and an assortment of tools. To my right, an unusually large guinea pig, wearing a helmet and breastplate reminiscent of nothing so much as the high Middle Ages. The rat stepped forward first and bowed. "Welcome, Captain, to Rat Star Island. I am Edgar, Second Chief Engineer of the 3rd Rat Brigade. I invite you to avail yourself of food and fuel at our expense. The only cost to you is a choice." The rat stepped back, at precisely the same moment, with what appeared to be the ease of a long habit. The guinea pig scuttled forward and made a declamatory chirp. "Welcome, Captain, to the Isle of Cavia. I am Lady Augusta Devereux Swinch, of the Blackwater Swinches, seneschal to our King Gracenough, first of his name. I invite you to avail yourself of food and fuel at our expense. The only cost to you is a choice." The two stood at attention, looking at me expectantly. Chapter 2. Alike in Dignity. The two remarkable rodents sat, squatted, with both seeking my support. I knew I had to choose carefully. I spoke to the chief engineer. His eyes had a wave-cold glint to them, and he wore his scars like jewels. A rat in the making. I asked the chief engineer to elaborate. He looked at me for a long, measured moment before speaking gruffly. "We came to this island to make a home for ourselves away from London, its cats and snuffers, its rat-skin suits. We came to live as citizens of our own republic. We came with our tools, our teeth, and our clever hands, and we made a beautiful city by the light of the rat star that shone bright and blue on Mount Ararat." The chief engineer nodded towards the distant hill. "One day we braved the depths of the chicken woods, and from the top of Mount Ararat we plucked the rat star to be our light, our beacon. But the pigs of Cavi saw the light, and they lusted for it. They sent armies to rule us and steal our star. We will not permit them to take what is ours. We will resist to our last breath. Will you join us in defeating them?" I spoke to the seneschal. How did an armored guinea pig manage to look regal? A knight out of habit. The seneschal cleared her throat with a delicacy to rival the Duchess's own before speaking. "Gracenough the king, our lord and sovereign, for 7 months had sojourned on the sea, conquered this land and won the southern name. Now no fortress against him shall remain, no city walls be left for him to gain, save the rats that squeak behind a mountain. Unlikely was the lamb of our deliverance, assured shall be our glories and our fall, when our lady's eye restored be to our hall." The seneschal composed herself, then added, "We saw truth and beauty by the light of our lady's eye on Mount Caveat. But the rats, with their guns and their chatter and their peasants' politics, stole it from us. We will subjugate them and take it back. They are a rabble, and we will rule them with the steel-shod velvet of our paws. Will you join us?" I had heard more than enough. I was ready to make my choice. I attempted to broker a peace. Surely their commonalities were more numerous than their differences. Perhaps I could help them get along. My words helped them reach agreement. The chief engineer and the seneschals shared a look, then regarded me with scornful amusement. Yes, smirked the chief engineer. You're obviously much cleverer than us. Oh, much, murmured the seneschal. You clearly know us better than we know ourselves. Apparently, idealism would not help here. I sided with the chief engineer. He seemed grumpy but honest. Also, I knew all too well what rat-made weapons can do. A friend to rats. I extended a finger to the chief engineer, who shook it grimly. The seneschal hissed and chattered her teeth in disgust, but kept her distance. You've made the right choice, said the chief engineer. Let me show you around. Gained fuel, gained supplies, memoirs, a rat in the making. I chose to help the rats. Chapter 2. A Rat in the Making. The chief engineer led me to the northern side of the island, skirting the chicken woods. We passed through a number of what can only be termed checkpoints, as fierce-eyed rats shouldered their derringers and saluted the chief engineer. Soon we came upon a small colony, smaller than some of the infestations I had encountered in London flats. Perhaps only 50 Rattus faber altogether, working diligently to fortify their side of the island. First thing I noticed was a brilliant light beaming out from a stump of chickenwood about 6 feet high, bathed the whole settlement in a clean blue glow, and was almost too bright to look at. By its light I could see several raised mounds of earth, suggesting shallow tunnels. An efficient fishing operation was set up by the water, an albino rat mending nets, while others stabbed sharpened sticks into the waves. Further inland was a barracks, where a sergeant barked drills at a small squadron of fighters. My arrival drew attention, and several rats paused in their work to look at me curiously. "Welcome to Marinia," said the chief engineer, voice warm with pride. "It's not much to look at now, but it will be once we've frosted the cabbies. Take a stroll around while I summon the war council." With that he vanished into one of the mounds and left me to explore. I visited the rats' barracks. The drill sergeant appeared to be sizing me up. Were the few rats around her really all she had to launch an attack? We were fighting impressive odds. I approached the drill sergeant and went so far as to salute her, which earned me a grunt of satisfaction. The sergeant dismissed her troops and offered me a bit of chickenwood jerky to gnaw on. "There's more of us below ground," she explained, "but not enough. The cabbies are bigger and there's more of them. We're better with weapons, but haven't got the stuff to make 'em with. Most of us came here as stowaways and brought nothing but food, tools, and fur on our backs. We can fish, and we nibble the chicken woods, but we can't make guns out of trees. The cabbies came with their own steamer and seem to have endless supplies. We raid 'em sometimes, but there's so few of us, we can never hold on to territory gained for long. But that's of no consequence. All we want is to be left in peace to build our republic. And the rat star," he added thoughtfully after a moment. "Of course, we want that too." Is this the same one? Yes. I took a closer look at the rat star. An excitable-looking rat was peering at it, as through smoking goggles, twitching her whiskers and making notes on what appeared to be real paper. Blue as a sapphire, but endlessly more brilliant. It's not a star, of course. Not really. I try explaining that to the others, but the chief engineer doesn't want me working too hard to convince him. Says this is better for morale. But look, just look at it. Look! She offered me her goggles. I managed to work them over just enough of one of my eyes to see the truth of what she was studying. It was scintillac, but unlike any I'd seen before. Blue as a sapphire, but more brilliant. Something about the clarity of its color was tremendously soothing. The chief science officer tittered with pleasure as I handed her goggles back. Those of us who've been to the Cavi side of the island, and lived to tell of it, say there's plenty of glow there, plenty of bright in the water all around, but nothing like this. We took it from the island's center, Mount Ararat. Not only it's not a mountain, of course, any more than this is a star. It's hollow, there's sweet water inside, and coral crawling all up the walls of it. Nothing that glows save this. It's ours now, and no one can take it from us. I headed down to the beach. Who ever heard of a rat mending a net? Where the green billows played, an albino rat smiled up at me from his mending brook, looking dainty and a little shy. Chickenwood floats, especially when it's all dried out and sealed, so we're able to paddle out a bit and cast our nets. I've come up with all sorts of things. Blindfish, crabs, sometimes a chunk of broken tentacle. The fishing would never be so good without the rat star. He beamed. I think it only draws good fish and keeps the scary ones at bay. I know the chief science officer doesn't believe it, but I do. That light is our livelihood. I finished my exploration. The bells of the war council rang. I was summoned. Chapter 4. A Vital Enterprise. The chief engineer emerged from underground with a motley assortment of other rats. He introduced them as weapons experts, strategists, and field commanders. So you're gonna help us beat the Cavies, he said, a hard edge to his voice. But how exactly? I offered my strategic assistance, determined to take the lead. I had a ship, I had cannons. We would steer her to the southern side of the island and have at those uppity animals. A palpable hit. The rats gave me what information they possessed about the Cavies' settlement, but I still had to improvise a great deal on the spot. A perfect storm of speed, stealth, and strength in arms favored us, our cannons letting fly a volley of shot onto the beach before the Cavies could scramble onto their grounded ship to man its guns. Screams and squeals filled the air. The enemy fled. A damp hush settled over my crew as the smoke cleared to reveal the torn, bloodied bodies of guinea pigs littering the shore. A grim business, but I had honored my commitment to the rats and found a wealth of scintillac ringing the beach to harvest as spoils. Succeeded in an iron challenge. Hail Marinia! 2 houses, alike in dignity, not that this is saying much, mind. Occurrence. Your pigment isle, might, quality is now 5, adequate. Your pigment isle, civilization, quality is now 4, troubled. Your pigment isle, spirit, quality is now 3, conflicted. You have 3 scintillac. You have 1 bale of parabola linen. Chapter 5. A Nation is Born. The house of Cavi had fallen. Marinia was triumphant. All that remained were the celebrations and the continuation of our voyage. Oh, how we feasted long into the night. Then, I interceded on behalf of the Cavies. They were crushed, defeated. I could see their spirits broken without the light of the rat star to guide them. They needed an advocate. The satisfaction of victory. I appealed to the chief engineer's moral fortitude and sense of fair play. Perhaps the Cavies suffered the loss of the light from the center of the island. Perhaps they were only trying to get it back, not steal it from the rats. The chief engineer looked troubled, but shook his head. "We fought one battle, Captain," he said gravely. "We've fought hundreds against them. They're monsters, pure and simple, and the sooner we're rid of them, the better." Rid of them? I saw by the light of the scintillack a dozen rats using the steam pinnace's supplies to build something that looked remarkably like a sausage machine. We could not forge peace between the rats and the cabbies. I invited one of the Ratus Faber to join us. After all, what's a ship without a few rats? Welcome aboard. The chief engineer couldn't leave his colony, but he relayed my request to his people. The albino rat I saw mending nets stepped shyly forward. "You're good at fixing things," he said earnestly. "I'd like to see more of the world." I waited for him to gather up some effects and say goodbye to his family before accompanying him on board. "You now have one albino tinkerer. You've lost one pygmotile civilization. In total, 3 struggling." The wide dark sea beckoned. We had eaten our fill and our business was concluded. It was time to continue our voyage and see what other wonders and terrors still awaited us. The end. There, you finish your diary entry and the final dregs of the rat's surprisingly good wine. They line up to salute you as you leave the victory banquet, escorting you to your ship through the foundations of their new republic. Report. Pygmote Isle. Hunger is cleared. A new nation has been founded. Okay, I have a little bit of fuel now. No shops. Visit the Cavi Ghetto. Verinia has not been kind to its enemies. The Cavi Ghetto. The survivors of the war have been sent to this swamp, where they ponder their failure. Rat guards patrol from atop a spiked wall, passing the time by pelting the mud-slicked guinea pigs with sharp rocks. We can spare some supplies. Smuggle food into the ghetto. The Cavies have little to offer except their gratitude. Success will improve Pygmote Isle's spirit. A slider livery. Regular gate guards do not dare search the hairless advisor. A few careful lies get you and your supplies through without incident. Starving Cavies have little to repay your kindness, and offer what little they manage to keep from their ship. And one, Pygmote Isle, spirit. A stout crate. Crates, the source of sustenance, the fundamental element of cargo. And 4 supplies. Hardtack and water and an unexpected box of nails. A would-be wit remarks that the nails look tastier than the hardtack until an officer's glare silences her. Okay, let's see if we can make London. Uh, There's Isle. Right there. Apparently didn't count as discovered because we didn't put the light over it. The waves are cluttered with Z-Rack, like drowned hair drifting. A baked breeze rises, the improbable scent of stone out of some distant desert. You are close to the salt lines. Our fuel reserves are empty. Now, KS class Corvette looks like it's going to fire on us. Ouch. Shepherd's Wash, the salty hinterland of London, home to hermits, nuns, and shadowy business. Shipwrecked. Your ship founders. There are screams, a flood of dark water, the unforgettable sound of a ship's spine breaking. Slip beneath the waves. Perhaps you'll be remembered in song. No more. Sleep. Your memoirs, quality of lodging's quality has gone. Your first captain has died. Don't worry, these things happen. Explore boldly with your next captain. Choose a legacy to preserve something for your next captain. Okay. No legacy qualities. The rival retains 50% of their iron value in one weapon. Pupil, half their mirrors and half their money. Salvager, half their veils and half their money. Shipmate, half their hearts and one officer. Correspondent, half their pages and their chart. Let's go with rival. And accept that. Okay, captain's making. Three decades ago, blah blah blah, stolen by bats, blah blah blah, welcome to the Undersea. Let's choose a past. It's always above the blind helmsman. Let's go with a street urchin. Most veils, skill of subtlety and evasion. Your urchin gang cast you out when you grew too tall. You took to sea rather than graduate to larger crimes. That last big score was enough to buy a ship. This will give you a bonus to veils, the skill of subtlety and evasion. Low cunning on the high seas. Your friend, another Longshanks, knows a little of gunnery. Only a little, but she can help. Talk to her to find out why she went to Z. You were a street urchin. You are no longer a stranger. Into 10 echoes. Now I have a Longshanks gunner, 25 veils, to total 50, and someone is looking for passage. And then let's try for fulfillment again. Try to become London's most venerated explorer. And let's be called Captain. Let's go with this captain. Passenger. A nom at Gallivant wants to go to the Humane Canal or the Iron and Misery Funging Station, or both. Not in London. Let's see, the Admiralty's Survey Office could use strategic information from the Iron and Misery Fudging Station, not far from home waters. Pick up Tomb Colonist. Dr. Flemigan Gallivanter. Pick up the Navigator's Boon. And then let's visit the university. Visit the university. The university has an inexhaustible appetite for secrets, Z specimens, and other tidbits of esoteric lore. Provide a secret to prove yourself worthy of entry. Find secrets by locating locations of interest or in foreign ports. Quite impressed. Oh yes, the university's maritime liaison whispers breathlessly. Oh yes, this is quite a tasty one. Let me explain it to you. He explains, teeth glinting. I now lost a secret, but I have a favor from antiquarians, and I've gained 1 pages. The alarming scholar. The alarming scholar is mercurial, to say the least, a creature of sudden moods and provoking teeth. Possibly her. Is it her? Appointment as University Maritime Liaison is precautionary to keep his, is it his, razor-sharp enthusiasm from causing too many injuries in the faculty. Ah, yes, the scholar whispers breathily. I have a budget for acquisitions. What have you brought me? If you have any knowledge items that the scholar will buy, they will appear below. Ask the scholar about the whisper-locked box. Cobweb-light silver tumblers will align if the words are right. But what are the words? Perhaps the makers of the box will know. I have an idea where it's from, but it's a long way there, and I may be wrong, so perhaps... I rather like the box. Perhaps you should simply sell it to me. Sell her the box? Politely refuse and ask her his advice. Irem, I'd say. The Iremi like locks. They like puzzles. They can make things that are honestly implausible. Their city is perched on Parabola's rim, like a hummingbird on the finger of a god. Go to Irem, perhaps. They can open it for you. Perhaps they can tell you how. The scholar has suggested you seek answers in Irem, in the far northeast of London. Pick up the news. Read the morning papers. The Unexpurgated Gazette, the magazine formerly known as the London Magazine, the spiteful trumpeter. News. News from home. The Echo Bazaar, that enigmatic marketplace, has increased its tax on love stories. The traitor Empress has forbidden singing in the street outside her palace. The anarchists of the Calendar Council have inexplicably dynamited a drinking fountain. The Ministry of Public Decency has located and destroyed a nest of gallbladder wasps. I now have one recent news. Hey, what else can I do? The Labyrinth of Tigers is open under the patronage of the London Zoological Society to cautious visitors for educational purposes. Here you may see the devil apes of Far Mandalay, the Thing in the Mirror, the Cantagaster's children, the gargantuan cave snake, the inhabitor of wolves, the hybrid fiend. Nota bene, the management recommends that you arrange your exit well before closing time. Okay. We're starting off with the Tomb Colonies run, and I took notes last time. Tomb Colonies want mushroom wine and foxfire candles. So I have enough fuel and supplies to get there. So, first, let's take a look at what we've got here. Got our gun, got our engine. Lineage. Captains have died. These things happen. Others will challenge the Untersee. You have combed the Z for stories and other treasures. Well, not really. All I really did was pass on some rumors from another captain. Okay, let's put in the Blemmican Gallivanter as our mascot. And then let's buy some Foxfire candles for the Vanderbite run. And some mushroom wine. Without further ado, let's set off. Start by swinging down here to take another look at the bazaar and the Department of Menace Eradication. Get a few free fragments. That looks like a dock, but it isn't. Sluggish wave. The ship pitches. Hunter's Keep is some distance to the northeast. Right. Discovered Bat Stevener's Abyss. Discovered Hunter's Keep. Discovered Low Barnet. Luminescent beasts like eyeless dolphins play in your wake. Fed the crew. Hunter's Keep, a quiet isle with grand old house. Walk in the gardens. Take a couple of burly sailors with you, just in case, but the gardens are tranquil as moonlight. The lawns are neatly trimmed, and the night flowers are filled with bloom and profusion. You watch the hedgerows, but nothing comes to menace you. You can savor the peace. There is a pointed cough from the shadow of a potting shed. An angular woman in a maid's uniform, her eyes a peculiar sulphurous yellow, advances, frowning. She indicates the house, turns on her heel, and leaves. With the court report, and present myself at the house. It's luncheon with Phoebe. Gained supplies, lost some hunger, and now have Storm's attention. Some news. Cynthia. Got some more supplies. That salt's attention. Okay, and now let's start heading toward Vanderbite. Dust echoes, even a sepia tint to the air. These are the waters around the tomb colonies. Other of the corpses. They are succulent with sullen blood, into the pot. An unorthodox diet. Those little bones are troublesome, the flesh a little gamey, but salt them well enough and they're quite edible. Home. Warmly lit windows, company, peace. Thoughts of home come at the strangest times. Discovered Horniman's stag. Discovered Tonachuk. A false star flares in the cavern roof directly above you, flares and fades. Fed the crew. Discovered Vanderbite. The trouble with tomb colonists. You've brought this decaying emigrant north. Now what? Help out an immigrant. Your tomb colonist passenger yanks off her bandages. She looks remarkably healthy for a tomb colonist. Not as dead as I look, she confesses, and I won't get ashore without your help. Yes, the constables are looking for me back home. Is that a problem? Make no promise of discretion. Keep your nose clean. You'll drop her off the dock, as you promised, and after that it's her problem. Muffled oars. You slip your furtive passenger past the skin check post and the confirmation or consolation. Thanks, Captain, she remarks casually. Let me teach you a couple of tricks, just in case you do this again, and here's a little hush money. You brought a criminal to Vanderbite and assisted her. You gained 1 Veils. You gained 200 Echoes. You gained 1 Menace, Suspicion. You've lost 1 Tomb Colonist. Okay, let's start by unloading the things we brought here. Okay, the Foxfire candles sold for 33. I think we bought them for 40, so not a good run. The Hollow Temple. Can sell a memory of distant shores here. Charnel Lounge. Nothing. Okay, gather gossip. Along the coasts of the Untersee, it's remarkably hard to die. The decrepit and nearly dead who leave London become tomb colonists and settle here in bandaged peace. But they don't give up their ties to home or their politics. Gather a haul of complex clues, enough to keep your contacts in London interested. Now I have a port report on Venderbite. Okay, let's explore Venderbite. Here they favor candlelight over gaslight. The shadows are swagged like cobwebs. The tomb colonists stand still enough to be mistaken for sculpture until they laugh or cough. One building in 3 seems abandoned. A raggedy fellow. Captain, I'm a good Z-man. I'm yours if you'll have me. Will you have me? I'm hungry. I'll work hard. He seems likely enough, if a little ragged and sorrowful. Take him with you. You could use an extra hand. Taking a chance. You won't be sorry. I'll work double watches. Ask anyone, they'll tell you I have a good name. Yes, yes. Eventually, you'll get him to stop talking. His enthusiasm is promising, if a little pitiable. Welcome aboard, stranger. This may lead to complications. A skilled crewman. This is the sailor who came begging to you for a berth. He's done good work this one, but he's keeping a little shrine to Salt, the nameless god of the horizon, at the back of the hold. Permit it. Out here, a captain needs all the help he can get, even from sad, strange gods of farewells. A breath of air. You let him keep his salt circle and his chalked arrow. That night, as you stand on the foredeck, a soft breeze comes out of the east. The salt's direction. Tussles your hair. Passes. I now have Salt's attention, and a certain matter has become clear. Check in on the first curator again. And that's it for the Venderbite run. So let's get going. Some sort of beetle has invaded your morsel of ship's biscuit, waggles its antennae impertinently. Fed the crew, February 2nd. Okay, what are you? Pirate frigate. Well, let's not stick around. I know when I'm outgunned. Full speed. All clear? What is it now? Creeping tendrils of fungus, seaweed, unnameable floor. We enter the snares. On the horizon, a sickly yellow light glimmers for a moment, then fades. Okay, that's Hunter's Keep up there. That's the light ship. That's Bad Sneaker's Abyss. Looks like we're nearly home. Yes, and that looks like London. Known as rocks. Fed the crew. The glim lamp of the crowd fizzes, arcs. Don't need light here. An inspection by the Ministry of Public Decency. Some things are too illegal for the Customs Service to admit the existence of. The Ministry are here looking for those. Nothing to hide. You shrug and invite them to search your ship as thoroughly as they would like. They leave scuff marks on the newly scrubbed decks and take great pleasure in tangling the rigging. They find nothing more dangerous than moldy ship's biscuit. Boss one menace, suspicion. Collect messages from the harbor master. All the clatter and song of the dockside soothes the soul. Are there messages for you? What's this? Let's see. Something has changed underneath. Someone wants to sign on. It's all for now. And now have a free evening. The Rose Market bustles on Grocer's Wharf. Who will be there today? Okay, let's start by turning in reports. Hunter's Keep. I trust the sisters are keeping well. They are citizens of her enduring majesty, notionally. 5 echoes, 1 fuel. Vendorbyte. What have the nearly dead been up to then? Submitted. You no longer have report fed. Right. 10 echoes, and 1 fuel. Okay, nothing else for them. Carews and Wolfsack docks. There is no danger here. Try to enjoy yourself. This will reduce your terror. You might run into trouble or romance. A good night out. Sea shanties, good companionship, and the warmth of a pub fire. You were fortunate. Lost 5 terror, lost 30 echoes. Now have 1 recent news, lost the free evening. Okay. Okay, I'm not quite badly damaged. Okay, at the Rose Market. Madame Soshana wants extraordinary implication. A prim baronet is looking for an unread log. Consider a specialist surgeon. She is staying at a respectable boarding house near the docks and has made it known that she is available for work. I specialize in amputations. It's easy to acquire unwanted appendages at Z. Employ the clattery air. Her talents would be well employed on your vessel. Clattery air is a doctor who increases hearts and iron. Welcome aboard. She comes with a bag full of knives and her own personal sharpening stone. Don't touch these. Don't let anyone else touch them. Appoint your new officer by dragging her from the officer's tab to her slot at the top of the screen. Do this at port, not at sea, or you may unsettle your crew. Lost 30 echoes, gained 1 clattery air. Speak with the clattery air. She works with 2 scalpels at a time, with a scalpel and a tined instrument, pinning open the flesh she's working on. Her operations are brisk and yield very little blood. Invite her to dine with you. Does she wield a fork the same way she wields a surgical instrument? Precise bite sizes. The cooked flesh arrives still in its shell. From the claws, 8 legs, body, and head, she renders a dozen neat, bite-sized piles of shredded flesh, sutured with mushroom or pinned together with a needle of chitin. Perhaps she has missed a calling as a chef. She denies it. Mother was the child of a surgeon in the first city. You might say that knife fork runs in the family. There is a wicked, quirking smile at the corner of her mouth. Then there are the rumors about my father. She would deny there's any truth in those. Lost one supplies, and I am now learning about the clattery air. I am alerted to rumors about her parentage. Speak to the Longshanks gunner. All right, Captain. What do you want me to shoot at now? The Longshanks gunner is not the most distinguished of officers, but she'll do until you find someone better. Increase your iron. I'll swap you. Spending a secret will improve your iron, but no higher than 50. Days with the regiment. The gunner ran with the regiment, the urchin gang who keep a cannon in a high clock tower. But the urchin gangs reject adults, and now she applies her skills at sea. In the way she stumbles over the story, she still misses them. Ask her what she wants from life. Why did she come to Z? Khan's shadow. It's like the flit at Z, right? No one to tell you what to say or do, and no one to kick you downstairs just 'cause you got a little bit tall. You'll be a faithful officer, but put me ashore at the shadow and I won't forget you. Khan's shadow is east of the Khanate proper and east central under Z. Okay, now let's restock on supplies. Maybe a bit more fuel. That leaves us with 105 echoes. Okay, let's make a run south this time. Mutton Island, some distance to the southeast. Right that way. Auroral megalops, discovered in auroral megalops from southern archipelago. And destroyed it at point blank range. Lost some hunger. Fortunately, did not get any supplies out of it. Discovered Murray Straits. a ship's horn, far away. Discovered Mutton Island. Okay, no shops, no shipyard. Baker's Haven. Once, this simple fishing village was part of the London suburbs before London fell and the waters rushed in. Smoke spirals from cottage chimneys. A lonely hill rises behind town. Explore the shore. Wander a little way along the shore. Beachcombing. Take a stroll along the beach. Perhaps the Z has brought you something. Driftwood? Something glinting. Remnants of a shipwreck. A nasty blob of glue. Boxes of biscuits. Murgatroyd's fungal crackers, an awful lot of them. One must hope that you enjoy fungal crackers or have an extremely hungry parrot. Gained 2 supplies. Chat to the fishermen. They sail the Z around the island. They mend their nets by the harbor. They see all that happens here, but you'll need coin to open their mouths. Little ships and little secrets. Pirates plying the waves, smugglers at their work, connate ships putting in to resupply. Nothing dramatic, but enough to interest the Admiralty. Okay, that'll be it for Mutton Island. Now let's get going. Try to get to the Cumane Canal. Little ships throwing the waters here. The crew go wistful. They swap old stories of Sunless Sea. We draw near to the Cumane Canal, the way to the surface. The Cumane Canal is some distance to the southwest. Okay, looks like we're on course for it. And there it is. The waves are cluttered with Z-wreck, like drowned hair drifting. Fed the crew. Discovered Albertine Gates. Discovered Giannotti Harbor. On the horizon, a sickly yellow light glimmers for a moment, then fades. Humane Canal staging area. Here, the dark waters run down from the surface, from a brighter sea. Unfortunately, this is not Alf, the sacred river. listen for surface gossip. The ships of the surface linger here. This is their lifeline to a warmer place. Daylight. This would be a prime spot for a pub or wine shop, but the interests of the Echo Bazaar and the laws of London prevent it. They don't like competition. Still, there are temporary, half-legal hostelries and long-moored ships. Here you trade stories with untanned surface sailors, stories of Paris and Batavia, the lost fires and the final isles. That's all for now, and I have a vision of the surface, which is apparently valuable in Venderbite. Gather information for a port report. Many ships pass this way, but perhaps pick up something we missed. Business as usual. The gates open and shut. The locks remain free from sabotage. If anywhere besides London is safe in all the undersea, it's here. Surface nations have an interest in keeping the way open. A perfunctory port report on the Cumane Canal. Assist the Nomic Gallivant in an enterprise of dubious legality. A riddle. There are 10 individuals in a room, one of whom is an ancient tyrant. How can you distinguish them? Answer. Burglarize a private library for a picture of him beforehand. Knowing the enemy. As dinner bells sound throughout the port, you carry a ladder to one of the long-moored, half-legal ship hostels. You prop the ladder to the portal of what the Gallivant assures you is the cabin of a French diplomat. He ascends swiftly, leaving you to carry the ladder away. Half an hour later, the Gallivant is back on your deck. He polishes his ruby cuffs. I have seen the face of eternity printed in ink. It was a terrible face. You were to visit the Cumane Canal and the Iron and Misery Company funding station. There's still one port left to visit. The Nomic Gallivant now knows his target's face. Okay, and now back to London. Quickly. Okay. Corner of the gates and then straight up. Okay, need to conserve fuel for this. So going at half speed. The air carries the scent of salt and shadows. Fed the crew. A white Z-bat. A sailor has grown fretful and disobedient, reluctant to go on deck, even in port. There's a white Z-bat watching me up there. Salt's messenger. Salt's got its eye on me. I'll never see home again. Shoot the Z-bat. Salt. Salt, one of the nameless gods that sailors fear. This sailor is a conscientious man. Send him to the sick bay on the pretext of a fever. And onwards. The sailor is grateful, though your ship's doctor rolls a skeptical eye. When he next goes up on deck, the railings are clear of Z-bats, white or black, and he sets to work with a will. target on that one. It's outside of the firing arc, of course. Dissect it for knowledge. 25 fragments. A crab full of conundrums. Is set to work with your knives and acids. It is an undistinguished adolescent specimen, a megalops, of one of the deep-sea crab species, but its eyes, normally vestigial in these troglodytic beasts, are large and golden beautiful. The golden glow is almost gone now, although sparks leap now and then to your mouth. Okay, swing around. And head back to London. Okay, dissect this one too. The Revenue Man. Her Enduring Majesty's Customs Service works closely with both the Ministry of Public Decency and the Masters of the Bazaar. Today they have selected you for an inspection. Don't cheek them. Let them do their worst. You have nothing to hide. This will also reduce your suspicion if your suspicion is 5 or more. Vexed and frustrated. They roam your deck like wolves. They tear through your belongings like termites. At last, they leave. Collect messages from the harbor master. Something has changed underneath. Someone wants to sign up. That's all for now. What if this? A free evening. Okay, first, the survey office. The Humane Canal. Well, if you've been there, I suppose we may as well hear about it. The fee is nominal, though. 5 echoes, no fuel. Quaker's Haven. Been trying the original rubbery lumps, have we? 5 echoes, 1 fuel. Ask to speak to the dark-spectacled Admiral. Do you have an appointment? No appointment, but, apparently I'm to show you in anyway. Very well. The dark-spectacled Admiral. You're ushered into his office off Mansion's Pyre, a cramped room with a vast desk. He surveys you across that desk. Ah, yes, the merchant captain of whom we have such complicated things. The Admiral will purchase intelligence from you. Ask what he needs. Discover the Admiral's desires. Information. Visit a port and will be interested in the port report. Visit places of particular interest and will be interested in the strategic information you gain thereby. We will pay you well, don't worry. We understand you can't be expected to act entirely for the love of the Empire. His lip curls. What's left of it? Okay. A new recruit. Who awaits your attention? Engage an officer. Maybe's daughter. At the end of the rotting dock, a woman perches on a suitcase. Both she and the suitcase are noticeably cleaner than everything else in view. Hello, where are you headed? On second thoughts, I don't mind. Can I come aboard? Yes, I'm an engineer, but I'm an engineer in a hurry. Maybe's daughter is an engineer who increases Vale's iron and engine power. Welcome aboard. If anyone comes looking for me, well, I'm not accepting callers. Can I trust you to pass that on? I don't want them distracting me from my duties. A smile, a wink, a butterfly tattoo, an intense and detailed knowledge of weaponry and engines. Nothing for the alarming scholar. Nothing for the labyrinth of tigers. Nothing interesting at my lodgings. A little gift. Let's not do this until we have to. Roser's Wharf. Extraordinary implication, the unread log, neither of which I have. A visit to Clavermont's tattoo parlor. You're a reeler zailer now, after all. You could go to one of those tobacco and prey places by the docks, but the prices at Clavermont's are reasonable, and his daughters are real artists. But what sign will you choose? Let's not do this just yet. Merchant Venturer. An urchin tugs your sleeve. Governor wants a word. A brooding figure waits at the lamplight's edge. Speak to the Merchant Venturer. I have need of a reliable agent. Failing that, an inventive one. Here are my requirements. An opportunity for profit. He has very specific needs, but he'll pay much better than market rates, and he won't ask how you came by these things. An occurrence. Your objective, the adventurer's venture quality, is now 1. A dream and a scheme. The adventurer has a request. Speak to him further or check your journal. Something bright. Port Cecil in the Principles of Coral. It's usually northeast or thereabouts. That's where Skidwalk comes from. A round 1,000 echoes for 7. Something romantic and approved. They publish this stuff in the Connaught to the east, but they don't trade readily, and there's a customs duty on love stories. Still, I'll pay 1,000 echoes for the 7. Something romantic and smuggled. They publish this stuff in the Connaught to the east. Same thing. Okay, let's stop people for medical supplies and mushroom. Oh well, we do have a little. White out to save fuel. And let's stop by Hunter's Keep on the way. The glassy chop of dark water, the iron clatter of feet at the hatchway. Hunter's Keep, a quiet eye of the grand old house. Just luncheon with Lucy. Actually, let's get a port report first. A daft tale. Lucy leans over and whispers to you confidentially. A complex story about a butler, a pig, and an inheritance. You don't follow all the details of the plot, but sometimes the pig ends up in an attic, and the butler in a vicar's bed. Candles flicker, dishes enter and leave, and the wind butts gently at the window panes. By the time the plum pudding arrives, you're as cheerful as you've been in months. Okay, let's not drop our news there. Let's drop our news in Vendor Fight. Lights out. Increase your veils. She'll tell you her secrets if you tell her yours. Spend a secret to improve your veils if it's no higher than 100. Complex knowledge. She's serious once she gets talking. There's hard edges under the bluff and banter. Lost one secret, gained one veils. I wonder. Proposition may be stalled. What a coincidence. I was about to suggest the same thing. She has no interest in tediously sincere lovers. Ensure your veils is at least 20 points higher than your boots. Actually, no. Let's not do that yet. Light them up and fire. All clear. Let's get some supplies. And wasted enough time. Gone far enough off course. We have entered a fog bank. Our gunners struggle to see the foe. A brisk spatter of spray. The Hunter Z is restless. Okay, go right past Horniman's Stag. Discovered Carissa's Point. The air carries the scent of salt and shadows. Fed the crew. Okay, first thing to do, drop off a vision of the surface and recent news. It's not much, but might be enough to get started. Someone trying to get your attention. One of the tomb colonists takes an obvious interest in one of your crew, specifically the clattery air. Voiceless. The tomb colonist draws you a little way away from the clattery air. Don't tell her you met me, he says in hoarse rasp. Her mother cut my voice. Hoped to fix it so I wouldn't be able to look for my daughter, so I wouldn't want to. He wheezes. Didn't work. Operations never completely effective. Need to know my daughter's well. Happy, finding enough patients, getting enough to eat, and so forth. In exchange for the simplest news, he explains himself. I'm her father, he says. Ordinary engineer, not the sort of parent she would want. If you wish to tell the heir about this encounter, you can do so by speaking with her. Get a port report and explore vendor bite. Dissolution. A tomb columnist hobbles toward you. I will not, she hissed fiercely. I will not, not for me the sanatorium, nor the emergence. I lived and I will die. She draws a sword from her sash. You jump back. Tomb columnists, fearless and long experienced, are famed for their dueling skills. She raises the sword, flourishes it, and beheads herself with a triumphant cry. Her head bounces across the ground toward you. And a terror and a lamentable relic. This is all of us one day, but let's not be in a tearing hurry about it. Okay, let's embark and keep sending out Z-bats. Yeah, Iron and Misery is supposed to be somewhere near home waters. Last time it was up this way. The sailor raises her head, sniffs sharply, blood on the wind. And we have an auroral megalops. Light it up and start shooting. All clear. Dissect it for knowledge. It's not dead! You haul it aboard and set to work with your knives and acids, and it flops unexpectedly to life. Sailors rush to your aid with guns and boarding pikes. By the time they're finished, you're unharmed, but there's not much left of the beast. You tip it reluctantly into the Z. Pages 28 failed. Blue lightnings crawl leisurely up the funnel. Saint Erasmus dancing! The cry goes up. Okay, that looks inhabited. No, that's just a light ship. Okay, and then let's go due south. false star flares in the cavern roof directly above you, flares and fades. Fed the crew. Far off, very far off, someone screams. Creeping tendrils of fungus, seaweed, unnameable flora. We enter the snares. A labyrinth of eels. Where is everyone? Where did they go? They're here. You're not alone. All clear. Okay. Straight shot back to London. Truth in dreams? Beneath, the cavern that holds the undersea is prowled by dreams. There's a story that it once was the skull of a dead god. Perhaps that would explain it. Listen to your dreams. What will you learn? A dream of spires. Mirror faceted pillars rise around you like trees in a forest. More so because each glows with a shifting green light. The Z laps at the base of the pillars. A voice from above cries out in 7 languages, and you understand each one. Once this was the face of Iran, it will be taken from us. Gained 1 terror, gained 1 memory of distant shores. On the horizon, a sickly yellow light glimmers for a moment, then fades. Fed the crew. Home waters. Sailors dawdle at the rail, watching for the lights of London. Sea bats cry out. They are nothing like birds. Returning to London. The lights of London welcome you home. The storylet only appears when you've been at sea for a little while. A breath of relief. As soon as the gangplank touches the quayside, the terrors of the deep sea lighten. Walk taller, smile more readily, for what dreams may cling. Coming home. Terror is always reduced to 50 when you return to London if it's higher. However, if your terror was high, you may suffer nightmares later. Occurrence. Your terror quality is now 50. Fearful. Well, the clattering song of the dockside, it soothes the soul. Are there messages for you? Okay, shops. Learning scholar. A memory of distant shores, a piquant piece of picaresque pilgrimage. Wells of emotion. As the alarming scholar listens, tears well in the depths of those shining, or is it blazing, eyes. They overflow, splashing onto the desk blotter. Stop! She sobs at last. This is too beautiful. Allow me to bring the macaw of memories. I wish each individual tone recalled. The lamentable relic. Not a scientific curiosity, necessarily, but the scholar has a collection. Or something. A beaming smile. This would be so terribly wasted in an ossuary. He buffs the cranium with a sleeve. I think a climbing briar rose will suit this one rather well. A yellow rose, perhaps. Thank you so much. Let's keep this between ourselves. Whilst the lamentable relic gained 5 echoes, and now I have 2 favors antiquarian. Leave the university. You have business to attend to, and besides, the scholar keeps snapping her teeth like a mechanical trap. Carews and wolf-sack dogs. There is no danger here. Try to enjoy yourself. This will reduce your terror. You might run into trouble or romance. A good night out, sea shanties, good companionship, and the warmth of a pub fire. Lost 30 echoes. Got some recent news. A new recruit. Not enough. Still not enough. Still it mourns and still waits the sun, etc., etc. Okay. Submit port reports. Hunter's Keep. 5 echoes, 1 fuel. Enderbite. 10 echoes, 1 fuel. Rest in a room above the blind helmsman. If you don't have the echoes to go out roistering, best stay at home. This will reduce your terror, heal a wound, and give you a restful night if you do not already have one. The rats keep you awake of nights with their muttering and skirmishing. The bed is warm and the door has a lock. Lost 10 echoes, lost a terror, now have a restful night. Okay, let's see if I can manage anything in dry dock. Admiralty yards. You can call in some of your Admiralty favors to have cheap, good quality work done on your ship. Or employ Ratus Faber engineers. Admiralty yards. Rapid efficiency. All shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. Very quickly. Lost 24 echo, new total 5. Lost 3 Admiralty's favor, new total 0. Hull is now 75. And okay. And I think I am now officially desperate enough for this. A little gift. A very fine evening to you, Captain. My what you might call mentor is very fond of adventurous sea captains. He would like to offer you what you might call a dispensation, on account of he is so fond of sea captains. Behind the blind bruiser, on the dock, stands a dray piled high with fuel and supplies. Inquire further. Who is this patron? Is there a catch? Nary wave. He runs a very fine and very liberal establishment just across the river, but is much patronized by sailors and by men of wit and vinegar, and public house. And there is no obligation to speak of. My patron would hope only that you might remember him kindly. I suppose that if the opportunity should arise for you to return his kindness, then I do not imagine he would refuse your offer. Accept the dispensation. Do make sure you have 15 points of space in the hold and will come back later. It would be embarrassing to have to leave it on the dock. A courteous nod. Well, my patron hopes that you find these little gifts to your liking, and he expects that perhaps someday you might choose to call on him at the Medusa's head. Should that day come, we will make you very welcome and give you any safe conduct what you might require. Good evening to you. He salutes and is gone. Gained 10 fuel, gained 5 supplies, accepted the proposal, and gained 1 suspicion. Oh, you rapscallion. Okay. Now that I've got a bunch of fuel and supplies, next run will be all port reports. Although it's pretty late now, so I guess that will have to wait until next time. Well, tutorial, well provisioned. You are now well provisioned. Try venturing further from London. The risks are greater, but so are the rewards. Oh well. Since it's getting late, I suppose that the port reports and exploration run I was going to do will have to wait until next time. Until then, I will be James. This game will have been Sunless Sea. You know the drill, like, subscribe, etc. And good night.